Hello, lovely people. Thank you so much for joining already our fourth edition of the B2B Influencer Marketing Chat Series. My name is Mariska Kesteloo and I'm the founder of Word of Mouth. And today we're going to talk all about TikTok, the next generation, and data. But before we dive into the topic with our beautiful host, I would like to introduce also Jaro, who is co-hosting this session together with me. So Jaro, welcome to the session.
Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Jaroslaw Marciuk and I'm from Poland now, before in Cambridge, and I hope next year we will meet over here in Barcelona. So now we can only enjoy Barcelona with our mugs and coffee. So I hope you all today enjoy the session about TikTok and we all meet together next year in Barcelona, of course. Over to you, Mariska.
Yes, I think we fully agree. We all miss traveling, and thank you so much for all the participants who could also join some session on IBTM Worlds, the virtual one. But I'm very happy that you're joining our session. So we will give now the word to Nyomi. Nyomi, welcome so much and joining our session. And would you like to introduce yourself and say something?
Yes, of course. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm really excited to talk about TikTok. It is something that I absolutely love. So a little bit about me. I am actually an events management student, currently in my final year of studies, doing my dissertation. But actually, when lockdown first happened, all the way back in March or April, I can't exactly remember the months. It seems to be a bit of a blur. But I started using social media to grow my personal brand and to really reach out and get into the events industry because so many opportunities were closing initially. So I thought, why not try and get my own opportunities and use social media to help me do that? So I really focused a lot heavily on becoming aware of the sort of virtual hybrid elements and also how to digitally market myself. And within about 2 months of really focusing on social media, building my brand, I was then able to have opportunities to speak at events like this, and also really get opportunities that I really want, where being able to work with some incredible clients, and specifically on TikTok campaigns and also on social media campaigns as well as digital events. So it's been an incredible journey, to say the least, and TikTok has definitely influenced my sort of journey as well. And just in terms of understanding a completely new platform with an incredible amount of young people on there, which is something I'm most definitely passionate about, which is empowering young people to get into the events industry. And TikTok has such a large majority of young people on there. But it's growing with other people like Jaro and Mariska, who recently joined TikTok as well. So it's an aging platform, which is great to see. So that's a little bit about who I am and what I currently do in the events industry space.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. You already said about when you remembered when you first posted. You used it first as your more like your personal account, but also the lockdown had a huge impact on the way how you say were using TikTok, and now you even get, I would say, even collaborations collaborations out of it. Can you remember when you first put your first post out on TikTok? Personal, professional. When was that?
Yeah, so my first post was literally when lockdown first happened, and it was still when the platform's still quite young, but it still had billions of people on there, but not as much as it does now. And I was just kind of went on there to show who I am. I actually think it was part of the Irina Graff's the mice the Event Planners Talk conference, one of their challenges, because originally I just used TikTok as a personal account where honestly, I do some really shabby dances and just have a muck about with my friends. And I didn't really see the true value of how important the platform is to show your personal brand, but also to really showcase your knowledge, your inspiration, and different insights as well. And then I think I did a couple of cooking ones. First back when I went onto TikTok, but then obviously it's completely evolved and changed during the last couple of months. So that's how I really started my TikTok journey. But it was mostly when Instagram Reels, when they released their latest feature, and it kind of kicked sort of thought in my head, thinking, gosh, people are trying to be like TikTok. But I feel like a lot of the other platforms couldn't properly imitate how TikTok was. I still don't really feel like Instagram Reels really has its full potential yet, whereas TikTok has just been able to completely overwhelm the younger generation, and like I was saying before, even aging people going on there as well. So it's continually growing. But yeah, that's how I really started, and when I saw the sort of true potential of TikTok.
Yeah, because we're talking about the true potential. We set up together this was a collaboration to the word of mouth TikTokers. And to be honest, I'm not saying that I was a huge fan, but I did never say explored all the opportunities of TikTok. And thanks to you, because of your post, you also shared how to create your first post. So me, as a bit of an older person, I also created my first TikTok. And now, to be honest, I understand why TikTok is so say addictive, but also so fun, and really understand, yeah, why it's so growing and so popular. And now I also understand the misunderstanding that might be parents have when their children are all day on TikTok. So there's a lot of misunderstandings about TikTok, and I know you also say educating a lot of other people also about TikTok. What's your opinion about this? Because it's a very educative platform as well.
Yeah, completely. And it was interesting when we did our challenge for the lead up to this session, and the actual day 2 challenge was for people to share their misconceptions about TikTok. And my TikTok that I created, it was about dancing, and that's originally what I thought the whole platform was. Just young people just dancing all the time. And then people like Sammy, who's also on this call today, she also shared that it was, for lip syncing, makeup tutorials, those sort of things. And then Irina also shared her thoughts as well. So the people were sharing all of their different misconceptions, and it shows how a lot of people haven't really actually understood or taken the time out to look through the platform and to see what the potential actually is on the platform. Personally, like I was saying, people think it's for dancing, and sometimes I think, well, yeah, it is a great platform to dance, and people forget that as event professionals, we get a lot of entertainment to come to our events. We bring in dancers, we bring in music, we bring in artists, we bring in everything to really create that whole event experience. So when I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, it's just for dancing, it's just for singing," it's you can bring all those different elements together for an event. So I always think always try it before you're going to give those misconceptions, because like you were saying, when you go onto the platform and you see all the different types of content that's on there, and even when you go onto the discover page and you have the opportunity to look through all of these different brands who are all wanting to reach out and to get people to understand that they are a future forward thinking company, you can really see that how even these brands also are trying to fight those misconceptions as well on that platform. So I always say to people, try the platform, have a look through, engage as well. It's really easy just to scroll through and think, oh, this isn't this isn't really what I want to do. But the whole TikTok platform, the whole algorithm, the way it's all designed is the more you interact, the more you engage, the more you like, the more that the TikTok platform, it will create and it will send content that you are interested in your way, which is not what a lot of other social media platforms have been able to do.
Oh, interesting. I even didn't know that, but there also is apparently also an educating part, which Irina put on during the TikTok challenge.
Yeah.
She even said there was an education part, which I was also not aware of, to be honest.
Yeah, and they've got a hashtag called hashtag learn on TikTok, and they've got all different aspects that you can learn from A to Z on there as well. You know, even when I go for job interviews, or even when I'm trying to bring on a new client, I actually search on TikTok how to bring in clients, or how to do an interview and stuff, and all these content from all these other professionals is also on there as well. But I know that there is an education side of it where you can actually go on there and learn, kind of like LinkedIn Learning. But the actual in-house learning that you can do on TikTok is phenomenal. You know, it's absolutely crazy. You know, the things you can learn.
Okay,
So
well,
Naomi, could you share with us, for the beginners especially, or who would like to start TikToking, could you share us some numbers about the platform and some special terminology maybe on the TikTok? Could you share it with us?
Of course. So yeah, so a lot of the statistics that I've kind of found and that I think are really important for people to understand, especially if you are wanting to go on there and build your brand, whether that's your personal brand or your company's brand, is that it's you know, there's 41% of the TikTokers are between the ages of 16 and 24. And I feel like that's obviously really important to start because obviously it's a really great demographic. You understand the age groups and who and that percentage of people who are on there. But it's also important when people are creating their TikToks, especially when I see people saying who are trying to share their brand, where it's, you know, email me or give me a call and let's book a session. 16 to 24-year-olds are probably not going to send you an email. They're probably not going to give you a call. You know, that's just not the way this generation works. We like everything to be automated. We like chat boxes. That's how we work as younger people. So that's really interesting if you are thinking of wanting to go on there, and how you're going to really make sure that you create that content that's specifically for that demographic. But even things like people go on to the actual minimum amount of time that people are on TikTok is 52 minutes a day. And I can definitely contact, yeah, 52 minutes a day. And I know for sure that I spend more time on TikTok than 52 minutes. And it's got even 115.3 million users spending. So what actually that means is when people are going live or when they're sharing ads, that there's even possibilities for you to even actually make money off TikTok. And actually TikTok are reaching out to young more niche TikTokers as well to help them grow their platform. So their user spending is just rapidly increasing because more brands and more people are creating content that they want to find more niche, so they can you know, go into different markets as well, which I also think is a really interesting statistic. It's from 150 markets, 75 languages. 50% of the TikTok audience is global, and they're all under 34 years of age. And I find that so incredible, because what's so what a lot of other platforms haven't been able to do is make their content diverse or inclusive for a variety of languages. You know, for example, you can really scroll on TikTok and you don't necessarily have to understand what they're saying, but you can relate because of the music or the facial expressions or even the filters that are being used. Whereas a lot of other platforms such as Facebook, they really can't get into that audience. Things like even like Instagram, if you're really wanting to build yourself on Instagram, you've really got to master the art of hashtags and consistency. Whereas on TikTok, that's just something that isn't necessarily needed. So I find those sort of statistics really important, especially for when you're trying to leverage yourself on that platform as well. And Another sort of interesting point is that there's 29% engagement rate, which I find is really interesting when you look at things like Twitter, where their engagement rate is below 10%. Even Instagram's engagement rate is just below, I think it's something like 14%. So all these other social media platforms, they haven't been able to specifically target their content to that particular user, whereas the TikTok algorithm, like I mentioned before, the more you go on the platform, the more you use it, the more you like that content, it will target that content towards you, which is why that engagement rate is so high. And that's why people, you always hear these huge stories of people being able to blow up on TikTok, and they've become millionaires and whatever, and that's the way that they've interacted on that platform as well. So those are some of the top stats that I've kind of seen on the platform.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
So interesting, really interesting facts. So you see there's a huge potential out there for, say, on TikTok. How do you see that evolving specifically for our industry? Because the meetings and events industry is not so active. And we're talking also about diversity, inclusion, which is also, of course, a hot topic in our industry. How do you see that? Well, in your ideal world, what are your predictions, or how do you see TikTok and our industry evolving? Would love to hear your opinion about that.
Yeah, so I feel like before COVID happened, I feel like not a lot of my event professionals were actually really using social media and actually understanding it. And this was before TikTok is the platform that we see it as now. But the content that you can create on the TikTok platform, it's so crucial just to actually meet that younger generation, because as much as we can say, if we've got an event and it's for something that might not necessarily target the younger audience, the younger audience can still learn from that event, from those event professionals, see the behind the scenes, see how that they put together an incredible show, meet industry speakers. So I feel like that the MICE industry, it's going to have to, it's just, I feel like there's not two ways about it. I feel like it's going to have to use TikTok, and the way that is the MICE industry is going to be able to do that is by opening the doors to younger people, or people who know TikTok, to come in and say, look, let me show you how to use this platform, and let me show you how this can work. I feel like that's how the MICE industry can really start leveraging themselves. But I think it's really important that when the MICE industry just come on showing the conferences, that they're not creating content or creating advertisements, because like I was saying, the platform, it's for younger people, and the younger people have so much content and so much advertisement shown to everybody. And I think actually, to be honest, everybody can agree that every time you go on to all these other social media apps, or even when you just look, Google searching and stuff, you've got Facebook ads popping up, you've got Google ads popping up, people are trying to sell you stuff, you want to watch a YouTube video and you've got an advertisement popping up. And that's just not the way that TikTok works. The way that you can really create good content on TikTok and really showcase that content is by making it look as least advertising as possible. It's got to be so authentic. It doesn't need to be professional. It doesn't need to be this high quality production team standard video. Honestly, it really doesn't. The more that your TikToks look like TikToks than advertisements, the more that you're going to be able to grow on there, and the more that people are going to be able to see the huge impact that the MICE industry has on the entire economy, And I feel like that's how important it is for the MICE industry to get on there. But in terms of predictions, I feel like people, like we was talking about the misconceptions, people just need to realise that maybe we can't do everything. So let's open the doors to people who can do this and who can put our brand out there. I feel like that is really important, and And like I was saying, you really just got to give it a go and not get so caught up with the misconceptions, because this is a growing platform that young people are using. And even if TikTok dies next year, there'll be something else, that will be coming up. But the key thing is that you've missed that demographic. You've missed that key demographic of where you've been able to create content for them, and for them to get to know who your brand is, get to understand your event, how you put it all together, you as an event professional. And that's what people will miss. We put in the event description, the younger people, they'll become our business partners, they'll become our employees, they'll become our customers, they'll become our competitors. So it's important that we recognise that and that we adapt to it.
Yes, indeed. Well, I think also the MICE industry sometimes have the feeling they are running behind and they miss opportunities. And I think also now with TikTok, it would be great to see in the future that also destination technology suppliers, regions, I mean, anyone who's active within the industry, also from the event planners, but also especially from the supplier side, that they also focus more and say, like you said, embracing more the next generation, because I think that is we're still missing that. If you go to a regular trade show, if IBGM was there now, I say on a normal way, then the average age, I think it would be around 35 or older that you would see. You don't see many young people. So I think if we want to embrace the next generation and we want to feel them welcome, like you said, and not the approach is different, the way how you work is different. So I think it's very important to be on that platform.
Yeah.
And also you talk about the next generation, of course. You're also very passionate about because I think there's also in general, and not only within our industry, but there's a huge gap between say the different generations. How do you see that evolving? Because you've mentioned a very funny example during our preparation call, that you went for an interview, a job interview, and that you got some standard quotes, which I found really, say, embarrassing from the person who did the interview. But I think there's there again, same like TikTok, there's a lot of misconception and misperceptions about your generation.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And I'm a young event professional. A lot of people don't know how young I am. I'm 20 years old, turned 20 in August, and and I've been able to really build a lot of my learning and development and skills through social media, which has really helped me. And especially when I go to like you were saying, when I went to a job interview, and people usually don't realize how young I am, and feel then that I'm not very capable because of my age, but then they bring me into the interviews thinking how experienced I am. So there's still lots of different misconceptions in that way as well. And I really just feel like people just need to, like I've said, just need to embrace young people. And I feel like it really starts a lot, like you were saying, with representation at a lot of events. If you really want to be a forward-thinking company, you really want to be a forward-thinking event and really bring in a wide audience, put young people on the panel speakers. We're talking a lot about the future of the events industry, but yet there's no young people on the panel. There's not a lot of young people who are standing up for the tickets, and people have got to realise that why is that happening? It's because we're not being included. You're using I hate to say it, but doing boring content.
Yeah, but it's true. I mean, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm Dutch, so you're allowed to say. So you can say it in a straightforward way. The format we're using, like trade shows and in regular events, I'm talking now in general. Like you said, it's not adapted towards your generation. Also, that we still send and also the way how we reach out to you. Like you said, you don't call, or you prefer to speak with a chatbot, or to or perhaps via Instagram chat function or Messenger. but it's often not used in the regular communication from events.
Maybe you can answer
Yeah.
the question appeared right now. Naomi, there's a question from Rina and Claudia. It's actually about the same thing. And the question is your generation actually interested in the trade show industry, in the MICE industry?
I feel like we can make people interested in anything if we understand that generation. I feel like if we, so for example, we have the trade shows, you know, if you go, for example, if you go onto TikTok, you can see that there's a trending hashtag at the moment where people are showing the cars and stuff, you know, or where people are showing their makeup and all this and so many different other topics. It's such a variety, and there's trade shows that are all discussing different things like that. So I feel like it's important that people really understand that we are interested if you make us interested. So instead of using content that is usually used for I don't want to say older, but you know, for more experienced
More
generation.
experienced.
Sorry guys, but for the more experienced generation, I feel like they have their different type of content. They're targeted differently because that's what interests them, that's what brings them, and you can't then use that same type of content and then expect young people to then be interested. You've got to think creatively, you know. TikTok is all about inspiration, it's all about entertainment, it's all about education, but it's all in an authentic way. I feel like we can really see a lot of people who are trying to sell stuff. You know, if you know, a lot of companies, for example, over in the UK, we've had a lot of discussion about the supermarkets who all came together for Christmas to share their hashtag, which was Stand Against Racism. But the thing that they did with that is that they didn't put any actionable things behind that campaign. They didn't really actually engage with anybody. They just expected to put it out there and for a load of love to go their way. And it didn't necessarily go their way because it was performative. You know, you can't expect to put things out there and people just to, you know, go across. And a lot of the younger generation are more analytical. We can really pick things apart. You know, we're very good at, you know, looking back at the history of these companies, finding out who was working in these companies and really, you know, really dig deep into understanding who these people are. And I feel like when we are creating content, we've really got to make sure that it's not just baseless content. You know, if we're really wanting to bring young people in, really talk to them, offer them opportunities, you know, embrace them into the actual event design, embrace them into the schedule. You know, go to where they usually hang out, which is places like TikTok and Instagram, and which is usually in a lot of video content. And I feel like that is how we can make people interested. But like I said, you've got to make interesting content that where you actually understand. And like I mentioned at the beginning, you know, if you're saying, send me an email and let's book a session, I can tell you categorically that people will not people will not email you. Young people will not email you to be interested. You know, like we were saying, chat boxes, simple forms where you don't really necessarily have to talk to anybody. And that sounds like we're a generation who don't want to have human contact. We're all about that, but we're all about automation and things being simple and not having to take the long way. So I feel like that has really got to be understood as well.
Yeah. It's really striking when you mentioned that you're overwhelmed by Facebook, right? Do you remember well? There are so many functions on Facebook. It's for your generation. It's quite a huge platform and you're overwhelmed by its all possibilities. So you look for easier solutions, right?
Yeah.
Quicker solutions.
And I think also
exactly.
Sorry, go ahead, Naomi.
No, yeah, I was just going to say that I completely agree. And for, you know, Facebook, well, a lot of social media platforms are trying to be everyone and everything at the moment. But things like Facebook, the reason that then I feel that they're not able to grow is because they're trying to do two things at once, and also the whole user design is just not appealing. It's very, I find it very confusing. There's things at the bottom, things at the top, and things flash in the middle of the screen, things pop up from the left to the right, and nothing's nothing's very simple. Whereas if you look on the TikTok platform interface, it's got none of the sort of banners at the bottom. The video is actually the background for the whole thing. There's not much advertisement for even the TikTok platform on there. You just got the follow, the like, comment, and share, and you can just swipe. It's simple, and that's why a lot of younger people love it, because it's simple.
Yeah, indeed. And therefore, I also like TikTok, because I said I'm Dutch, very straight to the point. We like very practical, easy to use tools. So therefore, I think TikTok is very interesting. And something I want to mention before we go into the questions is something that you highlight is about data. And I think we need to have another conversation about data, because I think we will need 30 or 45 minutes to cover that topic. But I just want to say that it's really interesting that you do a research upfront with who you're going to see, and that you can see what kind of a content the company, even a person that you would speak with within the company, that you will say, okay, but 3 years ago he worked for another company, or it did not perform well, or that company had a scandal or a claim or whatever. So it's very interesting that you search those data, and I think that's still a very underestimated value within our industry. And like the younger generation, like you said, you've grown up with social media, and you've grown up with the importance of those data and analytics. And I think that our generation is, well, now with the digital world and being forced to be online, we're now getting used to work with the data and the analytics. But it's still not at the forefront, and especially from our industry, it's not at the forefront and importance of our industry. So I think that's also perhaps one of the reasons why, I'm not sure why they're perhaps scared to use online platforms or social media or platforms like TikTok.
Yeah, and I feel like it's very interesting, especially with the use of data. I feel like people are saying in the comments as well that a lot of the mice industry are using traditional methods, like she was saying, it's print media and emails and banners and things like that, and that sort of data, it can't necessarily be as predictive, or it can't be as analytical as sort of social media and digital media is. But in terms of TikTok's their data analytics, if you create your TikTok account for a professional account, you can then see all of your analytics and see really who's watching when's the best time to post, etc. But in terms of the general events industry trying to use data more, I feel like we've really got to make sure that we're actually empowering our employees first, to get them to understand the importance of data. So instead of just putting out surveys or things like that, we've got to be more creative with how we're going to try and retrieve that data. And instead of asking simple questions, getting to know those people a lot more and connecting with them is how you can really create better data for you to then analyze. But then also using data after your event, or to really help you with improvements, or really just growing as a company, growing as an event. It's really important that you actually look and actually analyze that data. You really manipulate it to understand why are people acting like this, or why are people interested in this, that and the other. It's really important that you can then look at that data and you can recognize there's not a lot of young people here. Now, why is this? Is it because of these reasons, XXX? And it's important that you then create that data and then share it with people. Too many people are keeping data to themselves, and people don't realize that data is meant to be shared, obviously, with legally, but that data is meant to be shared to your community. And if you're sharing data that's saying, look, where we recognize the gap here, let's make, come on community, let's bring this, let's go this new direction. That's what it's supposed to be used for. It's supposed to help you improve and continually develop, but a lot of people don't necessarily know how to do that. So that's where it's important that we are empowering people to use data, and not for it to be such a thing where it's, oh my gosh, like numbers, etc. It can be a lot simpler than a lot of people usually make it out to be.
Yes, indeed, and I love your answer. I see there's a question coming up from Valeska, and she said, what are the steps you have to follow in TikTok if you want to use your platform in a professional way?
Okay. Ooh, I love this question. So what I would definitely say is you need to make sure that your account is a professional account, so that you can really see, like I was saying before, the optimum times of posting, understand who's watching what. And that's when, like we were saying before, when you can find out if your content is interesting. If it's got low engagement, there's a reason for that. And if it's got high engagement, there's a reason for that as well. Sorry. But then even trying to film your TikToks as well, we've got to make sure that all our TikToks are vertical. The whole reason that the platform is so good is that it takes up the full space of your phone. You know, there's not a lot of chance for you to look at, you can't even see the time and everything, you know, in the top bar of your actual phone. It completely covers everything. So definitely adopting the vertical video formats as well. But it's important that if you are going to be using this as a professional account, that actually it was interesting before this, sorry, I'm diverging from the question, but we were saying before everybody joined that Jaro doesn't really want to necessarily use TikTok to show his face. He wants to kind of show more of your architecture.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and lots of people still don't really want to show their face, which is completely fine. And that's where you can be a lot more creative, where you even use photos that you've taken from events. And if you go onto the where you go in and create a post and you go into templates, there's already 50 plus templates that are already up there where you can use images to share, you know, to upload and to create sort of photo reels and kind of show transformational journeys as well. But the sort of top tips I would really say that if you wanted to become and use TikTok is that you've really got to be authentic with yourself. You've really got to understand why you're going on TikTok. Is it to share your business? Is it to inspire others? Is it to be entertaining? Or is it to dance? You know, we all have different things we want to do. So you've got to understand your why you want to go on TikTok, and then make sure that your content is all coming off different aspects of that. Because what is really sometimes difficult is that people just kind of try and do everything, and sometimes that can even be more confusing as well for the audience if they are, you know, are following you and not creating different types of content. The whole importance of TikTok is that it's niche. So when you are creating content, it's specifically for event education. You know, you're trying to get people to get into the events industry, or you're trying to get people to be more aware of your business. You've got to make sure that that content is all around that, because all those hashtags that you'll be using, all the people that will be watching, it'll be pushing more of your content to your directed audience. So it's important that you really choose your niche first of all.
I think it's also, sorry to interrupt, but it also has to do with a good strategy, actually. So finding your niche, finding your why, and then focus, like you're using any other social media platforms, is creating a good strategy to say, okay, and posting in a consistent and a professional way, and analyze your data.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sorry. What I like about the TikTok is the thing, because I remember when I started in my Instagram 10 years ago, which is a decade. So at the beginning, all people also said, "What is this? What's photos? Who does need this, right?" And now look what's happened with Instagram. So I think you should at least try and check TikTok. Who knows what's gonna happen in 5 years' time with this platform? So should we at least know this platform from our perspective?
Yes. And there were two questions still because we are going towards the end of the session. Two questions actually from Irina, but perhaps we can wrap it up in one because she said, okay, generation interested in trade shows and talking also about the traditional understand and our industry is still using the traditional media methods like email, printed, and banners. And how can we make understand to do the communication channels? I think, yeah, it's a bit of a, say, interesting questions. How do you look towards that? How can we, would you go to a trade show? Would you go to Confax or would you go to IBGM and still, what triggers you to go and what triggers you not to go, I would say, or what do you need to have there to go there?
Yes, I went to Confax this year actually, and I enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't for me really. I actually, to be honest, wanted to go there to have a look at how incredible the event space was and to see all these incredible event professionals who I hope to be. And I feel like, especially when you're trying to create that communication channel for younger people to go to these trade shows, is you've got to show that journey. You've got to, show the incredible event space, the transformation that you've done, how it looked before and how it looks now. Showcase all these incredible booths that have got these incredible features on them. Really show the interesting parts and really make it like, wow, this is something I cannot miss. So that's how I would kind of really say that you've got to make them understand. There's different aspects that you can do, using trending music, even trending sounds as well that are on TikTok. So that's another thing that's important to try and get people to understand. There's sounds where people are talking about things that are inspirational. You can take those sound bites and use them for your own. So you can share your journey and share your videos and use trending hashtags that will make people relate more because they've heard it from other content creators who are in different industries, but it'll have that same sort of relatability as well.
Okay, interesting to see. Yeah. Any other, Jaro, do we have any other questions popping up? I think
Naomi just answered most of them.
Just one last question is coming on from Annette.
So there is a question on Neta. But it seems to be more B2C rather than B2B. And what I would add, do you think it will become B2B and when?
TikTok, and we're talking about TikTok. Yeah.
TikTok, yeah.
Or would it?
Go on.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting. I think there would be B2B and B2C component. It's the same with Facebook. It's the same one, no? But that's my opinion. But I would love to hear yours.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it is already a B2B platform, but people maybe potentially haven't had a chance to have a look at that opportunity that it already has on there. There's a TikTok feature called Creator Marketplace where you can find lots of different creators who are selling their businesses who are on there and who, obviously bringing great leads from the use of TikTok. So it is a B2B, but when we're trying to understand that B2B environment, it's really important that that content that we're creating on that B2B on TikTok, that it's inspiring. It's not traditional things that you usually talk about. If you were going to go on there and say this is what we sell, we do this, we do that, etc. People are probably not going to be likely to engage. So there's that's why I was saying there's different ways that you can create that content by saying, oh, we've got this podcast where we talk about this, sign up now or check the link in the bio and stuff. There's different ways that you can interact and build that B2B audience. I feel. Would you agree with that, guys, or what do you think?
Well, I think
I think sooner or later I see some B2B fields to discover. I think also this could be used by future employees to look for employees, to check them online. So an HR agencies can scan you what you do on TikTok. So this could be an interesting tool on a B2B and B2C level. And I think we should also incentives. I think this is a great platform for incentives. So you can see the action, the experiences. So I think it's a good tool for that.
yeah. Well, I think in general it has a lot of opportunities because, like you said, we bring people together, we create experiences, and that whole experience is missing at a lot of other, say, even if you at events, but at a trade show, I think we create so many great experiences, so many, and we never say dare to show it. So hopefully now with the push of the younger generation, we're able to share those experience and to see also how important our industry is, because that's actually
Yeah.
also what it's about, and why it has so many impact on the local economy, because so many say suppliers and supply chain is involved in the entire industry, and it's indeed by bringing people together. So I see
Yeah.
that we also already have 2 minutes, I say, over time, and I think we can talk for hours about TikTok, and we even say dive into the topic of the next generation and about data. So I think we need to invite you for another session, Nyomi. Well, I would say first of all, thank you so much for the participants for joining, and if you have any questions for us, let us know, and we will reply to all your questions. But thank you so much for joining and for your great questions and engagement. And first of all, of course, a huge thank you to Nyomi. Thank you for sharing your passion, because you're definitely passionate about TikTok. And I will continue on my personal and professional brand to make some great videos on TikTok. So see you there.
And
also,
good luck with the events industry.
Yeah, we need to be that
We need
example.
fresh blood. We need fresh blood here.
We need also to
Yeah.
we need to be that inspiration for others also to follow us. I think sometimes you need to be that. We're not saying that leader, but sometimes you need to take the lead.
Yeah, and and that's the importance that we're all here to help the industry grow. You know, we really need to make sure that the 2021 plan is to grow as an industry and to make sure that we come back even stronger. And the only way we can do that is by bringing more people together and not excluding different generations. You know, embracing each other for all their different thoughts, ideas, and experiences. I feel like that's just so important for 2021. But also, I was going to say, check out the challenges, because we put out some really great advice on how you can create that content on TikTok. So I believe you'll have to stay tuned, because we'll have something coming out about that in the new year. But I think Jaro's put up a blog post as well. So if you do want to understand how to TikTok more, you know, go look through that blog and you can really then start your TikTok journey. But I'm always here to help out.
Well, thank you for your lovely words for as the last words of this session. So thank you so much, Jaro, thank you so much, Nyomi, and all the participants. And next week we will talk with an influencer, with Horacio from South America. So tune in next week at 1 p.m. Central European Time. So see you next week. Thank you so much for joining. Bye bye.